Have you noticed that much of what we see in the sales world today is antisocial? Pitch slaps, false compliments, inauthenticity, and sometimes outright disinformation? Welcome to the All Selling is Social podcast, where we look at ways that we can be social in our selling efforts, no matter how we're reaching out. Each week, we talk to top sales leaders and trainers to learn what's working for them, how we can learn to talk with people, not talk at them. Join your host, Bill McCormick, and let's develop a sales game that feels as good as it works. Let's get social.
Hey everyone, welcome to the All Selling is Social podcast. Very special guest, my friend Liz Wendling is with us today. Hi Liz, thanks for being with us.
Hi Bill.
Great to see you. So Liz is the founder of the Sales Clinic and Purpose Powered Selling, as well as the author of not one, but two books. And as I struggle to finish one book, my hat comes off to you for two. So
wait a minute, Bill. It's 6 books. It's 6, not 2.
Okay. Well, I just have the title of 2. So
that's okay.
And so she's the author of 6 books,
Thank
2
you.
of which are The Heart of Authentic Selling and Sell Without Selling Your Soul, which I love. I love that. And Liz is driven by the mantra, if it's not what you sell, it's how you sell that matters. And she understands the challenges that professionals face when they're selling in today's competitive and crowded environment. She shows professionals how to make a profound difference in their sales approach, language, and process. Her proven strategies help professionals break free from outdated, ineffective tactics, which we're going to talk about a little in a while, and how to replace them with modern client-focused techniques that drive results. With Liz, professionals learn how to sell with integrity, influence, and impact. Liz, it's so great to have you here. I know we've been trying to plan this for a while.
Yep.
So as we get started, just so my audience gets to know you a little bit, what got you into the world of sales?
Well, 3 decades ago, I started selling fitness memberships when I lived in New York City. And that kind of kicked the ball in that area. But I realized very quickly, and of course I didn't know it then until about 2 decades later, I was taught traditional, old school, outdated, unbelievable, push, get the sale on the contract. Don't be transparent, just get the sale. And I assumed that was the way it was because I went to killer sales training school and that's what they taught you. But what I wound up doing, and who knew that was going to be something that I do today, but even back then, 30 something years ago, I sat in a room with 6 other salespeople, 6 men. I was the only woman, and everything they told me to do, intuitively, I did the opposite. They said, don't tell them about the 3-day rule that you can cancel a contract anytime before 3 days. Well, I would tell people that, and they trusted me. So I'd say, look, I'm not supposed to tell you this, and I would tell them, and they'd say, well, then that makes sense. Then I'll go ahead and sign up with you today because the walls were down. The lies were gone. I didn't have to do anything to make them sign on that dotted line and a couple of other things in there. But I was the top salesperson for 6 months in a row until I came clean to my boss. And in typical Brooklyn fashion, he was from Brooklyn. He said, get your bleep and get out of here. I didn't hire you to do it your way. And I lost my job for being good at something. I lost my job. And so fast forward 30 plus years now, I've been doing the same thing. When everybody else is zigging, I zag. When everybody else sends the same exact message, I send something different. And that's what I teach my clients. How do you sound more like you, sell more like you, be more like you, so that when people finally meet you, they're meeting the real person, not some formulaic type salesperson that you're told to do this and stay with color within your lines. And I don't do that. I'm a Jersey girl through and through, even though I don't live there anymore. She still comes out, and it comes out in my work. Because I don't believe we all should be doing the same exact thing. We need to honor who we are and align with who we are, and then allow our messaging to come through that way.
Yeah, preach it, sister, preach it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I had the same experience. I cut my teeth 30 some years ago in sales, and I got fired from every sales job I had because I couldn't be like those. I remember a sales manager sitting in. We were in a Coke bottling plant. I sold pest control, and we were in a Coke
Mhm.
bottling plant. They had to have pest control mandated by the FDA,
Yeah.
and the guy left the room. Our decision maker left the room, and he left the contract from the present company there. And my manager discreetly, he thought, looked and said, "That's the price we need." Well, what we didn't know was the guy was watching, and that's why we didn't get the deal. Well, somehow it was my fault anyway. But
Of
yeah,
course.
can totally relate to that. And so I'm curious. I know you get a few DMs on LinkedIn, probably get a few sales emails in your inbox.
You think?
Yeah. So what do you think right now, like in the present, like in the last month or so, or since the beginning of the year, since we're just in the beginning of 2025, what do you think right now is the biggest antisocial faux pas that you're seeing in your DMs, in your emails that you're receiving from salespeople?
Oh my gosh, don't get me started. Well,
No, no, I want to
especially
get you
since,
started.
okay, all right. Well, I saw the lull. I predicted it. I said there's going to be a lull November and December, a little bit of October, November, December. People were really laying low. And then January 4th or 5th or whatever it was, that first Monday, all of a sudden, click, the messages were coming through, all with the same flavor, all have the same theme, all have the same essence to it, all have the same pushiness and salesiness to it. And they're all about me. My name is, and I'm great at this, and I can help you with this, and I noticed this. And it's all focused on themselves and not about the person that they're sending an email to. I can't tell you how many times I'll get an email. I haven't been in the fitness industry in 30 years, but it's on my LinkedIn profile, and someone will send me, "Well, are you looking for to buy a franchise?" When clearly it's off the mark. So a lot of off the mark stuff. Why are you emailing me? And probably the biggest things are sending me a link already before I even know you, putting a link in there, putting your calendar link in there. Hey, why don't you get on my calendar? And basically telling me what somebody wants to do to me. So I would love to get on your calendar. I'd love to set up a time to talk to you. I would like to see if we can talk about this with no invitation to me, just verbal commands, a command for what you want to do to me. And that doesn't get anybody's attention anymore. And then people
Right.
wonder why nobody gets back to me. LinkedIn doesn't work anymore. So I'll just bombard them in their email inbox. So it's the same theme, the same flavor over and over. And just because you keep doing it doesn't that every year everyone is doing the same thing doesn't mean that it works. It just means that it's popular. So if you keep doing the same thing, just more of it, does that's not going to show up in your results.
Yeah, yeah. I think what you describe right there is the this what I call the sin of scaling. And it's people trying to scale this, do this mass outreach, and they just don't realize that there's an ROM, right? There's a return on missing, and that's
Yeah.
steep because we know that, open rates, I don't know, I've got a an email list of like 10,000 names, and
Uh-huh.
I only get about an 8 to 10% open rate. My click-through rate's much less than that. And so, your numbers, all those people you're missing, what is it saying when it's all about, when it's all about me and I,
Yeah.
and one of the words that, and we're going to talk about, well, I'll let you say that. I'm not going to get it right. You're what
Okay.
you call it all, but like the L word, like, so I don't like to say to people, "I'd love to," because love is one of those words, and maybe we can camp on this for a while. Love is one of those words that means so many different things, and you can actually cause it to lose its meaning. Because I love ice cream, I love my dog, and I love my wife, all in different ways. Right.
Yeah.
So when I say I'd love to meet with you, well, of course I'd love to meet with you. I want to do business with you. And it's like, no, I need, so how can we phrase that differently?
Well, let's talk about the energy of what I would love. Care if you say I would like, I would love, I would appreciate. It's the same flavor, the same energy, what you want, right? It's about what the salesperson, the professional wants. That's like me barging into your house and knocking on your door and saying, "Hey, Bill, I would love it if you took me to the airport. I don't feel like driving." It's a lot of pressure on someone. It's what you would love. You didn't say to me, hey, Bill, I don't know what your day looks like tomorrow, but do you have any time in your day that you can run me out to the airport? I know from time to time you get a lot of visitors. I invite you to the conversation. It's more of an invitation than a command. So when you say to someone, I would love to get on your calendar, first of all, the other person's saying, yeah, I know you do because you want to sell me something.
Right.
I know you do because you want to push your stuff onto me. So what happens is energetically, you literally just push that person away. Energetically, you just said, right at their shoulders, pushed both of their shoulders back. So I teach people, create an invitation. Stop telling people what you want to do to them and invite them into the conversation. And it could be as simple as, what does your calendar look like? What does it look like next week for us to grab a cup of coffee? That's an invitation, not a command. So and it just baffles my mind that people still don't realize how much they're putting themselves in their messaging. They don't turn it around on themselves and go, I wonder why my message isn't hitting the target. So the difference I tell people is, are you writing a message to someone or at someone? Does someone feel like, oh, Bill just typed that out for me? Or does it feel like copy paste at me? I could pick up a copy and paste at me email like that. I could, the words, it's all over the place. And the other thing, Bill, I don't know if you noticed this, AI is making people sound that bad still. So I might let people know that I would love to is not a good thing to say, but AI is making people do that. So I have clients, I'll say, put this in your AI and let me know what comes out of it. Sure enough, in there, I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope, I know you're busy. I won't waste your time. I'd love to get on your calendar. So while AI is helping industries and businesses become more efficient, it's amplifying the outdated sales messaging to the point that it's a recipe for disaster. So here we have this great new tool, but it's making you sound outdated, old school, and buyers see right through that. People see right through it. They could tell an AI messaging right out of the gate.
Yeah, I actually typed AI in my notes. I'm like, oh, I want to make sure I bring that. So I'm glad that you brought, because AI is this new flavor of the month, right? Back in 2017, 18, social was the new flavor, and social meant all these different things. And now it's AI, and AI isn't just AI. AI stands for artificial intelligence, and that's a computer thing. But now we have automated intelligence. Like it's just this big thing. And I think it makes us sound more inauthentic because, as you pointed out, it's pulling from the masses. And I think, especially when it comes to writing copy, to writing content, it takes more work to use AI. Then it's not going to save you time. It's going to cause you more time because you have to go through it. You have to make sure, is it correct? Is it, you have to make it sound like yourself. So I know one of the things you talk a lot about are the different words and phrases we use, and you have a couple of a great way to put it. Let's talk about some of that. Grenades and landmines.
They're word bombs, language landmines, and phrase grenades. And where that came in, that just dropped into my head one day, and I've been writing about them forever. That's a lot of what I talk about whether it's a sales conversation, whether it's a prospecting message, whether it's getting back to someone you had a great meeting with all these phrase grenades, word bombs, and language landmines that sound like, I hope you had a great weekend, or I hope my favorite, I hope all is well. No, you freaking don't. You don't even know me. You hope I had a good weekend when you don't even know me. So when you don't know someone, using that language right away immediately turns someone off. And sometimes it causes someone not even to open up your email. Hope you're doing well. That signals to someone, it's a sales email. They're trying to sell me something. And like the F word, we always talk about follow up, touching base, reaching out, checking in. Once I don't even understand how now people don't realize that the whole world is just following up, touching base, reaching out, and checking in. I'm shocked that people still type it. Yep. And yeah, so I always say just because everyone else is using it doesn't mean it's effective anymore. I
Mm-hmm.
swear I must say that phrase 10 times a day. I don't care how popular something is. I want to know if it's effective. And following up, touching base, reaching out and checking in is not effective anymore. And you probably already know that, but you don't know why. Again, everyone else is using it. But I like tell people, why do you have to announce that you're following up? Why do you have to not announce
Right.
you're checking in when you just check in? So I tell people, leave it out. Leave it out. There's no need for it. There's no reason to say, thought I would check in. You're already doing the act of checking in. Get back to people. People are busy. And these time wasters, these phrases that make you look like you got stuck in a time warp. And it's dragging your messaging back to, I don't know, 1998.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's the messages that it's the same flavor again. So how are you
Mm-hmm.
going to get someone's attention in someone's inbox when you sound like everyone else? It's impossible. So that is why I'm all for using AI, but not for your messaging. You want to write like you're in front of someone, right, Bill? Like when
Yes.
you're
Yeah.
out in at a networking event, you don't say to someone, "Hi, I'm just following up to find out if you got that proposal I sent you and if you had any questions." We don't talk to people that way.
No.
And so we have to think about it from that perspective of how can I make my message land a little differently so that somebody takes action. Because if you can't get someone's attention, you'll never get their business. And if you sound
Right.
like everyone else, you'll be treated like everyone else. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where the problem is. So again, AI's not the problem, LinkedIn's not the problem. Problem is the person who is using AI and
Yeah.
using LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's a fix. That's the thing. It's not that you're wrong, I'm right. It's wait a minute. Do you want to be more efficient? Do you want to
Right.
land more sales? Do you want to get more traction with what you're doing? Then you're going to have to shift what comes out of your mouth and what you type from your fingers.
Yeah. Yeah. And I couldn't agree more. And one of the things that I learned, I actually learned this from Larry and Daryl from Selling from the Heart, is that kind of takes away that follow-up step is when I have a meeting with someone, especially on Zoom. We were just talking about this in the green room before we came on. And, before we get off that call, if I'm going to be sending out a proposal for service, first of all, I probably already quoted them and I've got a feeling for whether this is a fit or whether it's not. And
Mm-hmm.
so I know, but it's like, hey, Liz, this is great. I'll send this out to you. Let's get a time on the calendar next week to have a meeting where we can review that and talk about any, right. And that's cut down my ghosting. Like people, every once in
Yeah.
a while somebody will cancel that meeting. It'll be a problem. And Liz and I were just talking. I was away a couple of weeks ago and I did probably 16 meetings in person. And I've sent out 5 proposals. In none of those meetings was it part of my process to say, hey, let's set up a meeting next week because it just wasn't natural for me being in person.
Right.
And so that's something I've noticed. But that helps me so that I don't have to. And then for
Yeah.
me, it's always following up some value, finding something of value I can share with the person that when I'm doing that dreaded follow up, when I'm sending them another message after the meeting, it's not just to talk about the proposal, right?
You want a
So,
little
so
coaching?
I'm sorry. Yes,
You want a
yes,
little,
please.
okay.
Yes,
All
live in
right.
person.
I'm going to give you what I give my clients right here, right now, because this will help everyone. We all are that past belief of, I have to follow up with value. I have to give them something. I need something that lands in their inbox that looks like a present. Whatever that feeling is, I say, I counter that. No, we don't always have to do that. That's the person who's sending that message believes that that's the only way they're going to open my message is if I send something of value. So I teach my clients, you can send something if you want. If you really want to blend in with everyone else, go for it. Before I even leave a meeting, I will say to someone, hey, Bill, I know you and I are rushing back to our offices and things get crazy. Your hair's going to go on fire. So is mine. let's you and I talk about what our next step looks like. How will we stay connected? How are you and I, what's the best way for you and I to stay tethered to each other through the decision-making process? Versus me saying, get out your calendar, let's get on it. Not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying, let's amp it up a little and let it become a collaborative conversation versus, hey, pull out your calendar. Sometimes that could feel a little like, whoa, pal, back up, you know?
Yeah.
So
We're not that there yet.
yes. So that's why I'm like, I know this is going to happen. I know we're going to get back to our offices. Things are going to get crazy like always. And the last thing I want to do is send you one of those dreaded follow-up messages that everybody else does. Following up with you, touching base with you, checking in and circling back. I don't want to do that. I don't teach my clients how to do that. And I'm certainly not going to treat your inbox that way. I want to respect your inbox. So how about we discuss what that looks like? And people are always so happy to go, you know what? So here's what happens. They start telling you, oh, well, I'm going to a 2-day conference at the end of this week. Then when I get back, it's spring break. And they're talking their calendar.
Right. Yeah.
Open. And then they'll say, okay, 3rd week in March sounds great. And then I always say, you know what? I'll be the leader there. I will do the work. I will make a note for myself to make sure that I'm the one that kicks that off when you get back. And now they don't have to do anything. They told me exactly what they want me to do, and they just do it.
Yeah.
Versus me saying, hey, I found this article. I thought it would be of value. That's a little 2015.
I guess that's where I'm stuck. So if I were you listening to this, I'd pause that, go back and replay it. Luckily, I own the recording, so I'm going to definitely study it through. And what's great about what you just said is now when you're reaching back out, you don't have to say I'm following up. Per our conversation when we last met, you said that, right? And so it's like, boom. So that is perfect. See, I knew this was just for me. You know, so
Bill,
thank.
I used to do it too. So I'm not saying I used to do it too. Send an article, send something. And then I stopped myself and went, wait a second. If that was me, what would I want? So I turned the table back on myself and I started shifting my language. And then my clients who weren't clients yet would say, like that. Did you teach my salespeople how to do that? And I'm like, what did I just do? Not knowing that all I was doing was giving them what their body needed, not what I wanted to stay top of mind.
Yeah. So difference between the golden rule and the platinum rule, right? Golden rule is to do unto others what you want done unto you. And that works great until it doesn't. Right. But the platinum rule, doing unto others what they want done unto them. Yes. You know, that's really the key.
That's it, Bill. And it's amazing. Watch what happens to your inbox when you start doing that. Yeah. Nobody ghosts me.
Yeah, and that's really the key because and I guess just we're coming up, we're just running out of time, but there's just one other thing I want to talk about, and that's the fact that because you had mentioned it, you know, all those things, hope you're doing well, hope you're well. Listen, nobody's well, right? Everybody's got problems in the world, but that the more relationship you build with someone, the more you're able to say those kind of things because you're saying it genuinely. Like I have no problem following up with someone I have a relationship with to saying, hey, I want to check. I don't mind using those words when we have an understanding, right?
Totally different. Yes.
Yeah.
But even I hope you're doing well with someone I know 25 years. I put it at the end of the email. So I teach my clients, save the fluff. Yeah. Leave the BS out of it in the beginning and re-engineer the way you write an email and watch what happens. P.S. I don't use, I hope you're doing well. I might just say, I know it was beautiful in Detroit last weekend. I hope you got out. Yes. Yeah. Start with that to warm people up and to soften up my message. These days, people are reading their emails at a red light, in the bathroom, waiting in line, in the supermarket.
Or they're glancing. I've got two monitors. My email is always on my left monitor, and I'm just I'm just looking at subject lines, and you know that's it. So that's gold, very much gold. So Liz, thank you so much. We are out of time. We're gonna have to do this again. And so listen, if you're listening, make sure you go out, visit in the show notes at lizwendling.com or check her out on LinkedIn. She puts out some amazing content there, all around these ideas of things we can do better in our inbox and in relating to people. So thanks so much for being on this episode of All Selling is Social. And everyone, until we meet again, don't forget to be social.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.